Flag is in the back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a good summer. See if we can get everything accomplished here tonight. All right. We have with us this evening for our informational hearing from the Queens County District Attorney's Office, the Housing and Worker Protection Bureau Chief, Bill Jorgensen, who's here to talk to us on housing and worker protection issues. It's a great presentation. Come on up. You can speak from wherever you wish.
All right. Thank you very much. How are you?
We're glad to have you because...
Appreciate it. Actually, this is on, but let me ask you this. Can you guys hear me okay without the microphone? Okay, I'm not used to holding a microphone. I'm used to speaking in my grand jury voice where I enunciate to the back row. So I will try not to overwhelm the system. How am I? Do I sound okay over there? All right, great. So how are you? Good. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Bill Jorgensen. I am the Chief of the Housing and Worker Protection Bureau here at the Queens District Attorney's Office. And I was asked to come down here and speak to you guys about deed fraud and squatters. You guys have a busy agenda tonight, so I won't take up too much of your time, but I will tell you this, that as a 35-year veteran of prosecutors' offices all over the city, I've prosecuted everything from narcotics cases to homicide to embezzlement to public corruption to insurance fraud. I had never understood the extent of deed fraud and homeowner crimes until I was asked to come to the Queens District Attorney's Office. And when I got here, I was really surprised at the schemes and scams that people will come up with to separate you from your home. So, let me ask you this. Who do you think is worse? The guy who loses his head in a bar brawl, takes a baseball bat to somebody and puts him in the hospital? Or someone who spends 6 months to a year trying to scam your great aunt out of her life savings? I think we all know the answer to that, all right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about what deed fraud is and a little bit about squatters. I usually talk about these two subjects at the same time because they fall within the same category of what I refer to as home thieves. That is, people who will steal your home. They will either steal use of your home by occupying it because they're a squatter, or they will steal the title to your home by actually stealing your deed. Now, how do you steal a home? I mean, it's not like you're going to jack it up and place it on a flatbed and drive it down the road, although I have actually seen that done. The way you steal a home is by exercising dominion and control over it. Now, what does that mean? That's a fancy legal term that means I own this, okay? So like right now, how do I possess something? I can possess it by holding it in my hand, like this microphone. I can possess it by keeping it on my person, like my cell phone. Or I can possess it the way you possess your home, by living there, by occupying it, by exercising dominion and control over your home, right? We all understand that, right? So how does someone steal your home? Well, there's a lot of ways that it can be done, but generally they all revolve around stealing your identity or pretending to be someone they're not, right? Filing documents, faking a sale, creating a bogus deed. So, this can be done a few different ways. One way is, sir, what's your name? Jimmy Caruso. Okay, Jimmy Caruso. I could say that I am you. Could I do that? I could get your name, I could get your date of birth, maybe I could get your social security number and your address, all right? And I could put them on a document, and I could fill out that document like a deed, and I could file it with the city of New York. Anybody here know what the city register is? Okay, great. So then you know the city register is a very busy place, right? They take in all the documents relating to home ownership throughout the city, all right? They are an extremely busy office, and they are obligated by policy and by practice to accept every completed document, every properly filled out form that comes across their desk. Why? Because if they did a forensic analysis on every single piece of paper that came into their office every single day, you know what would happen? The whole system would come to a screeching halt. So they do certain things to try and flag suspicious activity, but the fact of the matter is that occasionally somebody, some unscrupulous person like myself, could pretend to be Mr. Caruso here and file a deed that says, I own Mr. Caruso's house. You see how that can happen? And then it takes a while for the rest of us to untangle this. And we're getting pretty good at it, I will tell you that. We've actually managed to arrest and prosecute and convict a number of people who have stolen homes in Queens County, including one guy who actually pretended to be a minister. He stole 9 homes. He's in jail. Other ways to do this. I could pretend, Mr. Caruso, do you have any grandchildren?
Yes.
Okay. Got any
Great-grandchildren.
You got great-grandchildren. Mazel tov. Congratulations. I could pretend to be your grandson, right? You see the resemblance here, right? And I could say, oh, Mr. Caruso passed away, right? You're still alive, right?
I hope.
Right? Yeah, you look pretty alive to me. But guess what? I could go to a closing. I could pretend to be little Claude Caruso, right? His grandson. Do you have a grandson named Claude? No. Okay. Well, again, the people at the closing don't know that. And I go in there with a ponied up license and a ginned up piece of document that I printed up on my basement printer. And I could say, I'm Claude Caruso. And I got a fake deed, fake will, and fake documents all over the place and sell his house. How much does a house in Queens go for? I don't know. A lot of money, right? $100,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, $1 million or more, right? That's a lot of money. You can see why people do this. I've actually gotten surveillance video of somebody who went to one of these things, pretended to be the granddaughter that didn't exist. She sold a house at a closing, walked into a check cashing place, and walked out with a duffel bag full of cash. All right? A lot easier than robbing banks, and a lot safer. So, how do you prevent yourself from being, right? Now, you could do like my friend Tom does and keep a bunch of guns in your house, but guess what? That ain't going to stop somebody from filing false documents, is it? Okay? So what you want to do is you want to do a lot of things that you're all doing already, which is take care of your home, okay? But what about your aunt or your mom? Like in my case, my mom lived in Staten Island. After she passed, I put her house on the market. I live in Massapequa Park. Guess how often I was able to go out to Eltingville, to Staten Island? Not enough. All right? So, I called the landscaper. I told Sanchez, I need you to do a complete work over on the house. I called up ServPro. I had them clean out the interior of the house because after Mom went into assisted living, I rented it out. Oy, that was a mess I had to deal with. All right? I then went to a realtor, and I had them for sale. Then I went around to all my neighbors, and I said, Sarem, I know your daughter's in college. She can park her car on my driveway. I said, John and Dominic, can you keep an eye on my house? Let me know if anything happens. I gave everybody my text number. I had a network of eyes watching my house. I had the house cleaned up. I had the shrubbery done. All right? All these things to show that somebody's paying attention and keeping an eye on things. Because deed fraud is going to happen to that house that you leave vacant when you go down to Florida. Deed fraud is going to happen when your mother, or in Mr. Caruso's case, his grandmother goes into a nursing home, right? And there's nobody there to pay attention to the house. Deed fraud is going to happen when someone passes in your family and you guys are still trying to figure out who is going to take care of the property, whether or not you're going to sell it, who's going to hire the carpenter to come in and fix the property, and all the while you're mourning you lost one. Fraudsters will take advantage of a house that looks like nobody is paying attention to it. Fraudsters will take of that your grandmother is living in, and maybe if she's like my mom, she's got a little dementia. Okay, my mom had the best kind of dementia. All right, she met new people every day. She made new friends every day. She heard funny jokes never heard before. She was the happiest person in Nassau County, but she could not take care of her home. So that's why I had to. So you need to make sure that those loved ones in your family who maybe are past their prime, no longer capable of taking care of their home, or that house that you're leaving because you're going down to Florida for the winter, you need to make sure that that house is maintained and under watch. Now, you can do all of that, like I did. This is my business, right? I'm supposed to protect people from getting stolen. Guess what happened a month and a half after I put up my house for sale? So went on Facebook and listed it as an apartment rental. If it could happen to me, it can happen to you. Luckily, I had two real estate agents selling my house, and they were like pit bulls. And they were all over Facebook. They were all over social media. They got that down. We have no idea who listed. I wouldn't be surprised if the person was in Lagos, Portugal, all right, or Da Nang, Vietnam. I have no idea where they're from. But at least we got it taken off, and we knew to keep an eye out on things. So, how do you know if someone's targeting your home? Let me ask you this. How many people here like to get their tax bill? Ah, somebody in the back. All right, man, what's your name? Okay. Well, I'm going to get my tax bill. All right, we prosecuted these guys. Not only did we get a conviction, but I'm also happy to say that we were the first agency in the state of New York to use a brand new law that allows the criminal courts to get stolen title put back into the owner's name. It used to be, if you wanted to get your stolen title back, you had to hire an attorney, go to civil court, spend thousands of dollars, wait a couple of years, get your title back. We were able to do that for the victim. And I got to tell you, this grizzled vet of the criminal justice system, going back to 1990, when my assistant came out of court after she finished that hearing and she walked up to the victims and she said to Mr. Banks, you got your house back? I'm getting chills right now thinking about that. Okay. We've done that multiple times. We've gotten people their houses back. So it's something we work very hard. But now, you also want to call an attorney because there are other remedies in the civil courts that, quite frankly, I don't know enough about to advise you. But I always tell people, contact a civil attorney because you don't want to miss out on any civil deadline while you're waiting for us to do what we're doing. And you want to call the police so that they know what's going on. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about squat. I'm pushing up against the clock here. But another way that people can steal a house is by squatting. All right, let me ask you guys this. How many people here have heard of squatters' rights? How many people here, you sir, with the glasses, what is squatters' rights? Yeah. That's exactly correct in what people thought squatters' rights were. Did everybody hear what this gentleman said? Right? That if a person breaks into a house, stays in a house for a certain period of time, they have rights, and the police can't do anything about it? Right? Everybody thinks that? Right? Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. Okay? Does everybody remember a story that came out of, I think it was Flushing, it was a 109, about a woman who got arrested for trying to throw a squatter out of her house? Yeah, I remember that case. Oh boy, do I remember that case. Why do I remember that case? Because that was my case, okay? And when Melinda Katz heard about what happened to this poor woman, well, let me tell you something. She made it abundantly clear that that was not an acceptable situation. And she charged myself with doing something about it, the Bureau with doing something about it, and she charged the big brains in our appeals bureau to just look into the law to see if there's any squatters' rights that I thought was real, that everybody in my office thought was real, that the police thought was real, that the politicians thought was real, that the cops on the street thought was real. Our appeals bureau did a whole pile of research, and guess what we found out? There's no such thing as squatters' rights. They don't exist. They are a unicorn. They're like Bigfoot. All right? In fact, you probably believe in Bigfoot with a greater basis, in fact, in squatters' rights. What is a squatter? What is a squatter? So what do you think a squatter is? Just breaks into your house and stays there, right? Yeah, exactly. Unauthorized, right, exactly. That's exactly right. A squatter is basically a burglar that doesn't leave. So guess what? I prosecute squatters as burglars now. I'm proud to say we're the only office in New York and probably the state of New York that prosecutes squatters. I'm trying to get the word out to everyone, including just gave them a seminar about a month ago about squatters. Because here's the problem. The reason why squatters what they can is because somebody calls the police. Like, let's say it was my mom's house. Somebody finds out that there's people in my mom's house. The door, same guy who used the printer to maybe pony up a fake deed, he ponies up a fake lease, a fake bill. Magazine subscription says, I don't know what you're talking about. Right? How easy is it to make a lease on a printer these days? Right? Now the poor cop is standing there. He's out in the middle of the street. He's trying to make sure people are safe, and he's being on the court judge. Well, that's obviously acceptable. I can't ask a police officer to be a housing court more than you can ask me to be a cop. All right? So the bad guys know that all they had to do was put reasonable doubt in the minds of a police officer, and now he's left helpless. Of course. Well, okay, it depends on whether or not they're actually a squatter. Okay, I'll tell you what a squatter is not. A squatter is not a tenant that stopped paying rent. A squatter is not the ex-wife of a tenant. All right? I know, because I had an ex-wife of a tenant in my mom's house. All right? A squatter is not a subtenant. That is somebody who rented a room from a tenant. And that's the vast majority of the situation we're dealing with. And in those cases, I'm sorry to say, landlord-tenant court. All right? That's part of the problem right there. The other problem is that if the police identify a squatter, all right, and we find out about it, it's a fairly straightforward process because police wear body-worn cameras, right? And so in a case I had recently, police go, they get a call about domestic violence, and they answer the call, and there's a guy in there that says, I live there, right? Now, at the time the police answered the call, they didn't know that the actual owner of the house was in a nursing home. They had no reason to believe that because nobody had called them about that. It was only after we got a complaint from the owner's family that said, wait a minute, there's people in Grandma's house, that we were then able to start going back through all the records that the police kept and say, wait a minute, is there any calls to this location? Yes, there are. And then we found the body-worn camera video, and then we were able to identify our defendant, and his name was Chudge, and he said he owned the property. Now, I can tell you Jackson's name. Body-worn video. He's yelling at the cops. He goes back into the house. He leans out the window. No, it's a squad. This is a squad. Sure, Jackson's doing 2 to 4 years in upstate prison right now. Okay? But it took a while for us to put that together because the police had no idea who this guy was. The victim didn't know about in a nursing home, and the rest of the family is out of town. It was only after they heard from the neighbors something was going on. Is that once people steal your home, they do things like they can rent, like Brian Rodriguez did to that poor woman who tried to throw him out. He was renting out the house to other people. Or he can raise pit bulls in the basement, like True Jackson was doing, right? They can do a lot of things. Or they can resell the house, like what happened to the Banks family. So we have the luxury of time that the police don't have. We have the opportunities that they don't have. And so if, God forbid, you do hear about a squatter, you're going to do 3 things, right? You're going to call the cops. Hopefully they'll find them and the guy will say, yeah, I live here. They'll make an arrest. Right? And then we can use all those the cops about house. I want to call an attorney. Because here's the problem. What makes this so tricky is those people who are squatting in might be themselves. I can't tell you how many times we've had people who were from somebody that legitimately owned the house, and then they weren't. Now we say, guess what, you got to leave. So most of the time they were very cooperative. They'll help us out, but occasionally it takes more than that. So that's why I always say, call us, call the police, call a civil attorney, because again, you want to protect your rights in landlord-tenant court, because the person that you think may be a squatter might just be your ex-tenant's ex-girlfriend, like in my case. So you want to preserve your... We have some flyers up here that can show you a little more, give you a little more information. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. What's that? I'm sorry. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right now, this is a public hearing. The floor is open to members of the public who have a question. You need... That's a statement, a question. A question, please. That's what we need. And I'll explain why. We haven't had a meeting since June, and we got a ton of stuff we got to get through tonight. So we'll get you the questions, but we're not taking statements. So any other member of the public with a question. Right. Any board members with a question. Jody. You need a mic?
And you put it in a trust.
It might be. Honestly, we're getting into certain subtle aspects of civil law. I would consult a civil attorney about that. I can tell you that when my mom, after my father passed away, I'm an only child, so my mother put the house in my name about 15 years ago, right? By the time she went into assisted living, the house had been in my name for several years. So that worked for us. There are situations where a trust would be a better way of doing things. I understand, and again, don't quote me on this because I'm a criminal attorney, not a civil attorney, but I understand a trust is very good for dealing with property after a person dies because it will include directives on what to do with the property. But that's something I would really talk to an attorney about. Options.
In the case of deed fraud, isn't it harder for the fraud people to find, entry in if it's a trust?
Not necessarily, no. Because again, if the house is in trust, but the family hasn't come to a decision on what to do with it, or there are no relatives living in the area, that's really what's going to attract the fraudsters, is that not being cared for because the person is either incapacitated or they're not present. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Sure.
What happens if a neighbor or an interested party outside of the owner, like someone across the street or someone in the neighborhood, sees some activity and they're suspicious that it might be a squatter?
The question was, what do you do if one of your neighbors sees some suspicious activity and they might be a squatter? Okay, well, the first thing you want to do is call the police. Okay? Because it could be a whole host of things that the police can take direct action about, like maybe somebody's running a prostitution ring, or maybe somebody's selling narcotics, and once it's on their radar, they can take a number of steps. Okay, so you want to call the police. You also want to call us, too, because it may be that not. What I get are those cases where it's not something obviously criminal like a prostitution ring or narcotics activity. It might just be people making noise at night. And so you can call us, and what we'll do is we'll start digging into the city records to find out who actually owns the home, because if the person is deceased, or in the case I had, the person moved up to Vermont after their mother passed, and unfortunately, we did everything we could to get in touch with the person in Vermont, and she ran off everybody with a shotgun and didn't want to talk to anyone. So, but that's what I would suggest you do. Talk to the police, talk to us. If you know the owner, by all means, tell the owner right away. Okay? Are there any other questions? Sure. That's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members and anyone from the public who's got another question, we'll be glad to get you the answer. And everyone else from the district attorney's office who is here this evening. Thank you. All righty. All right. We have one more speaker who is going to be willing to wait for a few minutes, but we have with us, and I'm going to go out of protocol order because I skipped over Councilmember Areola before because I thought she had left, but we have with us Councilmember Joanne Areola. Dabo, we'll get to you in a minute.
Thank you, Betty. No worries. How's everyone tonight? Good summer, I hope? Yeah, too short is right. I know. I wore earlier today, white pants in protest of being Labor Day and summer being over. It's great to see all of you. We were very busy all throughout the summer in the office and especially at City Hall. A couple of things that I just want to talk to you about that are really, I think, of great importance. The first one being the upcoming election, not who's on the front of the ballot, what's on the back of the ballot. The proposals that the Charter Commission has put forth to be on the back of the ballot. And a lot of people don't really pay attention to the back of the ballot, and maybe they'll just check no all the way down or yes all the way down. But it's important that you know what they are. So there are 2, 3, and 4, proposals 2, 3, and 4. I'm not in favor of any of the proposals, but I suggest that you Google them and read them so this way you can make an informed decision as to how you're going to vote. But proposals 2, 3, and 4 will take away what was put back from the city of Yes, the council put back in with the city of All, any type of oversight over developments within our borough and the 5 boroughs by your council member, the person that you elect to bring your needs, your desires for development to the floor and vote for or against it. And they put it together in very flowery ways. This is going to expedite. This is going to fast track. Because anybody who's waited for a permit knows, wow, expedite and fast track sounds great. But what the proposals are saying from the Mayor's Charter Commission is that the city council is what's holding up all of development. But that's not the case because we're on a time clock. We have 50 days from the time we get the land use application to vote on it. So it's not us. So they want to take that mechanism away from the city council members for oversight for any type of development in their districts and give that to bureaucrats like the Department of City Planning or the Board of Standards and Appeals. And anyone who's had to deal with that, those agencies and the bureaucracy of those agencies knows that that's usually where they log jam. So what they didn't take out was the community boards. The community boards would still be able to give and render a recommendation. But when the community board renders a recommendation, they make that to their council person or to the city council, and then it comes to us for a land use review. So if we don't do that portion, then, yeah, but I'm just saying, at the end of it is our review. And by that time, we've gained everything that you want to do and what think needs to be done here, whether we don't want it or you do want it, and there's not enough infrastructure, not enough schools. But what I'm trying to say is even if the board says yes or the board says no, it's really a moot point because it doesn't go to the council for a full vote. And that takes away your voice. Not my voice, your voice. I'm your voice in the city council. And so I signed on to a letter, a bipartisan letter, with the speaker, the deputy speaker, the majority leader, and the minority leader, myself, to ask the Board of Elections to reject proposals 2, 3, and 4. And Jason Otano, who is our general counsel for the New York City Council, he went before the commissioners at the Board of Elections just last Tuesday and made a very solid argument as to why the commissioners should vote to reject these proposals. And the commissioners, I have to say, they were very open-minded about it. Because we cannot have our rights taken away, your voice taken away, and because then you'll say, then we don't need the community board, you don't need your council member, because there would be the bureaucracy of the city of New York, and it would be the speaker, the mayor, and the borough president that would have any say. Which, when you think about it, any speaker is also a council member. So wouldn't that give that person's district a little advantage over everybody else's? Everybody is very parochial. So, it's look into it, read into it. You really do. 2, 3, and 4 are extremely important because it does take away your voice, a voice that you said with the City of Yes when you unanimously voted no on City of Yes. And then it's the mayor's way of circumventing the abridged version of the City of Yes, which is the City of All, that the council had put forth. So that's number one. And just as a point of reference, they'll say, oh, well, Councilmember Areola in District 32, she doesn't like development. That's why she doesn't want 2, 3, and 4. But that's wrong. We want good development. We want smart development. I work with the community board on developments, and you'll hear about a project that came before us just a few days ago. I've been working for a long time with the developer to trim it down and make it better for the community. But we're not anti-development. We want workforce housing. We want senior housing. We want veterans housing. We just want smart development. And that would take that away from us. The other thing that I want to talk about is I know that everybody's been reading and seeing the Adabo Bridge. We've been cleaning it. I want to thank my state partners, especially Senator Sanders, who was there in person, and the assembly member who sent her representatives, and the state DOT. We really did work collectively, and everybody owned up to what their part was in keeping that bridge clean. And we cleaned it the next day with CEO, but we've been doing spot checks, and it does look better. And we're going to be doing outreach. We're going to be putting pails out. So that's something that we find very important. On a lighter note, on October 12th, we will have a Columbus celebration over at St. Helen. So we hope that you'll all come to that. And other than that, I don't have anything more to report. So if you want to just ask a question or two, I'm happy to take it. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. But everybody knows how to get me. Everybody knows my phone number. Just call, text, email, send up a smoke signal. I don't care. I will answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful meeting. And welcome back.
Thank you. Once again, we got a lot of stuff tonight. It's been a busy bunch of paperwork that's come in. Okay. Senator Joe from
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello there. On behalf of myself, my team, Carl Moore, we want to welcome you back. Hope everyone had a great summer. And I want to say thank you to our volunteers here at CB10. So thank you very much all. I want to thank also, I know the Queens DA's office is here and our captain and everyone from 106. I just want to say thank you to the Queens DA and our team at the 106 precinct. I want to say thank you. The reason I'm saying thank you is the illegal pot shops that we have in our area. We've been on them. We've been attacking them. I have said we can't really think about opening up legal pot shops when you have a proliferation of illegal ones. And the ones that are actually illegal, we're seeing we're having trouble with those too. We had a situation right here in the confines of CB10 where a legal pot shop, the license was approved before anyone here had the opportunity of opposing it. That's in violation of the statute. That's in violation of the law that I voted no on. I'm not for even the legal ones at this point. But when we set up a structure that says a local community board and the community that it represents should have a say, yay or nay, before a license is issued, and yet the state OCM, Office of Cannabis Management, issues a license before even you have a say, that's wrong. So we did a virtual meeting. Betty and Karen were on there, CB10, and I want to say thank you. Our Representative Stacy's office was there. CB9 had a situation as well. They also had a pot shop legally licensed before the community board there. CB9 had an opportunity to say yay or nay. With CB9, interesting enough, they said, we're not going to apologize to CB9. OCM said we were okay because we approved the license for the pot shop here, and the community board said no, but we approved it anyway. But then the dispensary decided to move their location here. And the state OCM thinks that it's okay that if they approve the license here, it's okay over here. That's not true. It shouldn't be true. So that's the first piece of legislation I'm going to introduce. If you get approved here, but you decide to move here, guess what? You're starting from square one. Because this area now is impacted, which is different from this. For CB10, they would not apologize. Oh, yeah, you did get the letter. That's right. They admitted, though, that, yes, they approved the license before any of you had the opportunity to vote yes or no. They admitted it. But what's the repercussions? They said they're sorry. You're getting a I'm sorry card in the mail, I guess. There's no repercussions. That's the second piece of legislation. There needs to be repercussions. The repercussions is this, and the statute, the bill I'll introduce is very simple. You don't issue a license. That dispensary will have to wait until the community board has its say. So they're putting on that. They should be put on pause before everybody else here has their say. So again, I think we have problems with the illegal shops. That's why, again, I thank the Queens DA and our 106. And we're even having problems with the legal ones. We're going to get called on in the state legislature to correct a wrong that was done by the state OCM and the governor's office. They opened up legal pot shops, but they miscalculated the 500 feet rule. They were measuring 500 feet from the opening of a school door. No, it should be 500 feet from the property line. Because if you measure 500 feet from the door of the school, you can actually open up a pot shop right across the street. It should have been from the property line all along. But yet they let these other legal shops open up while they were measuring it wrong. So now the pot shops that opened up are now basically illegal, and they want us to correct it. So, like I said, I think, again, we have issues with the illegal shops that we're going to work on, and then the idea is also, how do we do a better job opening up legal shops? Second issue, really quick, Resorts World. All right? I want to thank Betty. She's on the Community Advisory Council. We are on schedule to have the 3 licenses named by the end of the year. So by the end of the year, we will find out if Resorts World gets it. I hope they get it. For us, it would mean thousands of good union jobs. It would be money for our educational system. Resorts World alone, just so you know, Resorts World alone, since they've opened, have given $4 billion to the education of our state. It gets distributed through our state. Our city schools get it. That's Resorts World alone, $4 billion. So they are on track. It's a process. They are on track to basically get the license by the end of the year. And then, of course, next year, well, let's hope they expand. So we are keeping a track on that. With that, let's be mindful as we enter September. September, I believe, is Problem Gaming Education Month. So let's be mindful of the fact that as we expand gaming and gambling in New York, we are on the forefront of what we do, and I do chair the State Racing, Gaming, and Wagering Committee. On the forefront of what we do, we protect people from problem gaming. And we do have programs that work. We do. And we have extra money from the budget, another $6 million, making it $12 million for problem gaming programs. So we are keeping that on the forefront of what we do. I've gone on too long. You do have a long night ahead of you. I apologize, but if I could be of any help, let me know. Carl's going to be here, so yell at him later if you want. Yeah, never yell at Carl. But I want to say thank you again. If I could be of any help, please let me know. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you. Betty, thank you always.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Okay, patiently waiting has been Allison Odell, who's here to speak to us about Workforce One, and please give her your attention. She is our guest.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to be very quick. So my name, as mentioned, is Allison Odell. I am the Queens Workforce One Business Services Manager. And we are reaching out to all of our Queens community and letting them know about our free services that we offer, not only to the community, but also to employers and companies within our community. So what we do is we help with resume upgrades. We help with interview workshops. We have free training grants for people who are interested in getting into IT, security. We also assist with home health aid certification courses, pharmacy tech certification courses. So we help on the front end to help with building out skills for careers. On my end, on the business services end, I also help employers hire for their jobs. So as mentioned, Resorts World, actually, we are on track to work with them and help with fulfilling those positions that they're going to have come the new season. So we are going to be reaching out to a lot of different employers in the area. You may have heard of us before. We may have reached out to you in the past. But basically, our free services are because we are funded by New York City Small Business Solutions, and we work hand in hand with them to make sure that we are servicing our community to help people get back to work or build up their career. So with that, it's not just Queens. We have 18 different centers across the board, across all of the 5 boroughs. So when you work with one Workforce One, you work with all. So don't just think that if you're coming to me and you need some assistance that I'm the only person that can help you. When you connect to one, you connect to all of them. So when you talk to me, I'm also talking to my Upper Manhattan location, seeing what jobs they have that may be a fit. I'm also talking to different employers in different areas, seeing what jobs they have open that may be good for the community based on location, based on skills, experience. But what I'm going to do is I have flyers, and it has all my contact information. It has my phone number, my email. If you would like to partner with us, we have a lot of different community partner relationships in the area as well. So if you have connections to the community and you're not working with us already, please let me know. We would love to partner with you. If you own a business and you need employees, please reach out to me. I can help you. We hire hundreds of people per month for different positions, and between my 14 account managers and 2 veteran specialists, we are very skilled in making sure to get you the most quality candidates possible for your roles. But I will have all of my flyers over by the door for everyone to pick up. Again, my name is Allison Odell, and I hope to hear from you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your patience. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. Any additions or corrections to the June minutes? All right, correspondence. I'm going to try and go through it as fast as I can, people. Okay, this one pay attention to because we just got this one this afternoon. We have a letter that came this afternoon. It is from Transitional Housing Services. Pursuant to Mental Hygiene Law, Section 4134, I am writing to seek your approval of the interest and intent of Transitional Services for New York Incorporated to establish a short-term transitional residence for 14 single adults in Queens. We propose to develop the property at 9625 Rockaway Boulevard, Ozone Park, in Community Board 10. The property is vacant, formerly the Villa Marcello Catering Facility on Rockaway Boulevard, with 4 free market apartments on the upper floors in need of dire repairs for many years. The program, and I'm not sure what free market apartments are, but I think it might be a typo. The program will be funded by the New York State Office of Mental Health. A short-term transitional residence provides a safe, structured, home-like environment to persons in need of such housing. The residence is designed to help persons who are motivated to secure permanent housing but need short-term assistance to achieve this goal. The residence will offer individualized assistance to each person depending upon their needs. This may include help securing employment or applying for benefits, pursuing housing opportunities, skill building, accessing vocational services, participating in recreational activities, and establishing linkages to community services. The average length of stay will be 120 days. There will be 24-hour, 7-day-a-week staff coverage, including but not limited to a program director, counselors, clinical staff, nursing, peer staff, and maintenance. It will provide short-term housing for men and women 18 years and older who are motivated to transition to more permanent supportive housing and retain that housing. It is a model of housing that is safe, comfortable, and geared to help individuals with a history of housing challenges. I am attaching a list of comparable programs located in Queens for your reference. Transitional Services for New York Incorporated is working with an experienced architect to design an attractive brand new building with private bedrooms, bathrooms, shared living, kitchen, and dining area, staff offices, and other building amenities such as an on-site laundry room and outdoor space. We are confident that the building will blend seamlessly in the existing neighborhood. Transitional Services for New York Incorporated has considerable experience in developing all levels of housing. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, multi-service, community-based social service organization and a major provider of mental health residential programs to vulnerable populations, including those who suffer from severe mental illness and or other disabilities. Transitional Services is an experienced provider of behavioral health services. We are a nonprofit corporation providing housing, case management, crisis social determinant support, and treatment options to New Yorkers living with a serious mental illness for 50 years. Throughout our programs, we assist over 3,000 individuals each year diagnosed with a mental illness to realize their full potential and advance their recovery goals. TSINY presently serves 890 individuals in our residential programs, which include supervised community residence programs, single-room occupancy programs, apartment treatment, HUD Section 811 housing, and supportive housing programs operating under the auspices of the New York State Office of Mental Health and the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Our residential crisis programs in Queens provide alternatives to emergency departments and inpatient hospital stays when they need more support than what is available at home to manage an emotional crisis. Through our case management and assessment division and rehabilitation and recovery division, TSINY also offers a wide range of community-based treatment options and social determinant supports to address the needs of individuals with serious mental illness. TSI Services offers personalized recovery-oriented services, outpatient clinic, employment services, education programs, care coordination, peer supports, mobile outreach, home and community-based. That I think is describing their very full program. We believe that developing 9625 Rockaway Boulevard will improve the neighborhood by developing an attractive building that is integrated into the surrounding neighborhood, increase employment opportunities, and provide economic benefits for members of the community, foster the stability, self-sufficiency, and productivity of adults who need transitional housing, with the goal of helping each person access permanent supportive housing. I am available to address any concerns, and maybe Reason gives us our phone numbers. Final approval of the project will not be issued by the New York State Office of Mental Health until the community has had 40 days to consider our intent. Thank you for your consideration, and it's signed by Larry S. Gruber. Sorry to have to read that whole thing, but as I said, we got that just this afternoon. I don't have the list of the other programs in our area because in the email that came to me, the scan of them was too faint, so I'll get the original to look at. But our legal beagles on the board, please. We haven't had an action for quite a number of years now on probably it was basically group homes for the developmentally disabled. I believe that Section 41.34 of the mental hygiene law is the same section. And those also, when we had them, had a 40-day clock on them. And it was very limited in what we were able to do. So I would ask any of the lawyers on the board, if you want to help out, look up New York State Mental Hygiene Law, Section 41.34, and see if you can figure out which part of that section applies to this. And tune in next month for more on that. We got a letter from the Department of Transportation. Safety improvements at the intersection of the southbound Van Wyck Service Road and 111th Avenue and Lincoln Street. They're aiming to implement the improvements in the fall. The proposed safety improvements will improve accessibility, etc., etc. They're going to do implementation of a new crosswalk across 111th Avenue and Lincoln Street, installation of a concrete island with channelization currently exists, intersection normalization with markings, improvement and added pedestrian space, upgrades of all pedestrian ramps. We received also this week It's not with the rest of the land use ones because this one just came in. We got the notice of the secret lead agency designation in the review in regard to the hydrological restoration in New York City salt marshes. It's the lead agency is Parks, and basically, I would venture to say, because it doesn't clearly specify, it's a citywide thing. It will be any of the marshes that are in what we would all call Spring Creek North, which is parkland north of the Belt Parkway in Lindenwood. And most of that land is in the Brooklyn side. So there's already a project scheduled in there, so I'm guessing that that's what that is. We also received a memorandum in regard to requests for bids for concessions for the sale of food from mobile food units at various parks. There was only one on the list in our area, and it was burned, so that is in the works. Okay, we received a communication from the continuing saga of the Equal Employment Practices Commission audit. That one is, we received their determination, and then we have to answer it. And I'm not going to go into that one tonight because this one's going to drag on for a while because they have a slight problem figuring out that board members are not employees of the city of New York. And there are certain things that board members can't access. So we're still in a saga with them of, like, you tell us how to do it, we'll do it. Poor Karen is getting harassed by all of the emails from them. Okay. All right, we got some information that only deals for King Pile, so we'll skip over that. Roger already knows about it. We received the notice on HWTR QX1, which is one of the pedestrian ramp projects that's going on. It's the sign-off request. We received mass mailing number 3 for SEBL QX01. It's a Department of Design and Construction project. It's the replacement of sanitary combined sewers and distribution water main in various locations in the borough of Queens. Karen has all of the maps and stuff. So that one is going to be messing up more of our streets, digging holes for pipes. To what Joe spoke on in regard to cannabis management, we sent out on August 28th to the Office of Cannabis Management this letter in regard to the site on Pitkin Avenue. We sent that. We also sent an addendum to that the next day because additional information came to us. So we sent it. And Senator Adabo's meeting had taken place just that same week. And we were able to address it. I thank Senator Adabo. Carl, please let him know that his meeting was productive. If you remember the issue of the place that got the license before we had the chance to even write an opinion, we had sent a letter of opinion to the state back in June. After they didn't respond to that, and we specifically requested in that letter an explanation as to why. No answer. In July, we wrote them a second letter, again asking for the explanation. Again, no reply. And magically, as soon as we had the meeting with Senator Adabo, guess what we got? A reply. Basically, we'll accept their apology. However, their apology was ridiculous because they said, they didn't, what was it, Karen? They said, why, it's in here. They basically said that they didn't get the emails. Right. And we, of course, had the confirmation that they received it. So, we'll take their apology as long as they fix the next one, because that's the next day we sent the opinion on the Pitkin Avenue one, which includes a school on the area, but it is what it is. But Dabo did get a quick response, and the rest of that meeting was productive on some of the issues. I'm not going to go into the rest of the cannabis management letters. I'll send you a copy of that one if anybody is interested in their silly answer to us. Okay. Okay, that's cannabis management. All of that pile is cannabis management with this silly nonsense. Okay, we have a letter that went out from us. It was in support of Speaker Adams' program in regard to Liberty Avenue cleanup. Then we have the director of the Mayor's Office of Risk Management and Compliance, which was the payroll audit that we had a while back. That one's finished finally. Okay. Right, then we have a whole bunch of vacate orders. Vacate order for 11750 127th Street. 11732 Van Wyck Expressway. It's a vacate order. 10430 117th Street. All right, let's skip over the Con Edison generators that we had all summer. Parks Department. Got another request for proposals, but that one's ongoing. Doesn't really impact us. We've got a notice in regard to an OMB notice. Also, it's economic development in parks that relates to the marsh thing. We've got a DEP OMB notice in regard to BWSO facilities. We've got Gary got the tip notices from State DOT. We got the calendars, the contracts all passed. Okay, we have a whole bunch of notices that dealt with construction work where the neighbors have to get a letter, but they're all well back in the summer, so that work is complete. They're mostly where permits were issued for excavation type of stuff. Okay, we have a demolition order. Also, that's passed. That. Okay, and then the rest is land use stuff. Okay, we got, it's an on-airport environmental notice. That one, no impact on us. And then we received over the summer, what Councilman Ariola mentioned, it is the formal certification in regard to the application that we will be holding a public hearing on next month. It is, the project name is 7808 Linden Boulevard. It's the matter of an application submitted by Linden Canyon LLC pursuant to Section 197C and 201 of the New York City Charter for an amendment of the zoning map, section number 18B. What they're requesting is eliminating from within an existing R4 district a C1-2 district bounded by Linden Boulevard, 79th Street, a line perpendicular to the westerly street line of 79th Street, and it tells how many feet. The second part of it is changing from an R4 district to an R6A district, property bounded by a line, and it gives the distances on 149th Avenue, 79th Street, and 78th Street. And then the third thing is changing from an R4 district to an R7D district, property bounded by Linden Boulevard, 79th Street, a line 380 feet, etc., of 49th Avenue and 78th to 79th Street. And then establishing within the proposed R7D district a C2-4 district bounded by Linden Boulevard, 79th Street, and then it gives the 149th Avenue feet measurements and 78th Street feet measurements. Okay, the clock is running on that, and we're going to be very tight, so we're going to have the public hearing on that, but that is what the application is. Okay, we have some SEQA notices that describe it. Can't even read the small print on that one. All of the documents in relation to that are filed online. We have a BSA notice in regard to the Palo Comparo thing that we had dealt with a while back. It's still moving its way through the process. We have the lead agency declaration on the Spring Creek CSO retention facility. It's a solar installation at the sewer plant on the Brooklyn side, but there's a little chunk that comes over into Queens. So we have that stuff. Anybody wants it, we'll send it to you so that you can read it. All right. The SECRA on Resorts World has been completed and accepted by the state. That is, the SECRA was one of the requirements that before any of the applications on the casino app can move forward, they have to have all of the land use issues done. So Resorts World SECRA has been approved, so that they don't have that hurdle at all. Okay. We have the information on that. We'll get that out to anybody. And you have the trustee. You got today the directed mail. Anything else that's on there? Because it's like, what, I don't know, 11 pages long of what we got in the summer. Okay. That's it on correspondence.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Georgia Katsales. How's everyone tonight? Good to hear. I'm happy to be here on behalf of Queensborough President Donovan Richards Jr. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer and enjoyed and took some time to decompress. Now that school's back in session, we're going to host our monthly parent advisory meetings, and this is going to take place on Tuesday, September 9th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. This is going to be a joint session with our Civic Engagement Committee. This will feature remarks from the New York City Public School Chancellor Melissa Aviles Ramos. On Tuesday, September 23rd at 6 p.m., we're hosting our Caribbean celebration, and this will take place at Queens Museum, which is located in Flushing Meadows Corona Park. On the following Thursday, September 25th at 6 p.m., we're hosting our Mexican Independence celebration, and this is going to take place at Queensborough Hall. And then finally, on September 27th, which will be a Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m., we're going to host our annual Climate Expo, and it's going to take place at New York Hall of Science, and we would love to have anyone that's interested to join. It'll be really great. And to RSVP for any of these events, you can go to queensbp.nyc.gov. If you have any questions for me, you could contact me at 718-286-2853, and I'll also hang out after the meeting in case you have any questions. And if you have any general questions, you could call our office at 718-286-3000. And thank you very much. I hope everyone has a lovely evening.
Thank you. Okay, City Planning, Department of City Planning, Mia?
Everybody, I'm Mia Albert, an assistant borough planner for Queens Office, Department of City Planning. I'm joined by the Eastern Queens team lead, Teal Delis, today. All we really have to report to you is what Betty said earlier about 7808 Linden Boulevard certifying on July 14th. That's going to be a approximately 278 unit development right near the Brooklyn border in CD10 in Lindenwood. Yeah, and if anybody has any additional questions about that project or anything else, you can reach out to me at malbert@planning.nyc.gov. That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mia. Okay. District Manager's Report, Karen.
We've received notification that in the coming weeks, National Grid has planned construction work to install a new gas main at the following locations: 105th Street between 107th Avenue and Liberty Avenue, 105th Street between 107th Avenue and Rockaway Boulevard, 107th Avenue between 105th Street and 106th Street, 107th Avenue between 104th Street and 105th Street, 105th Street and Liberty Avenue, and 105th Street and 107th Avenue. The new gas main will be installed in the street or sidewalk, and the excavation required will be backfilled each day. The entire work will be kept clean and orderly, and all attempts will be made to keep noise, dust, and debris to a minimum. All or part of the gas service may have to be replaced. In order to complete this work, National Grid may need to gain access to the homes at the point where the service enters the building. If this is the case, the homeowner will be contacted by a National Grid representative to make an appointment. All street and sidewalk surfaces affected by the construction will be repaved to ensure a smooth surface. Temporary asphalt pavement will be used until all National Grid work is complete and permanent restoration can be performed. That's it for this month.
Thank you, Karen. And before we go to me, I'm going to go to the very patient Captain Van Tull from the 106th Precinct.
Thank you, Betty. What did I say? Patience is a virtue, right? But good night, everyone. Good evening. My name is Inspector Van Tull. Yes. Just got promoted. Thank you. It's okay. It's all right. So yes, my name is Inspector Van Tull. I'm the commanding officer of the 106th Precinct. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great, safe summer, and you can enjoy the next few weeks we have in the summer. Before you know it, there'll be snow all on the ground, and right, we'll be okay, all right, yeah, all right. Never mind, I said that, but yes, enjoy the last few weeks of your summer. I hope it's going to be a safe summer, as we've been striving to have, and I think we've accomplished that over here in the 106 precinct. Just a few things, some trends that we've been seeing. Airbags, something new to the precincts since I've been assigned here. We've been seeing an uptick with this. It's pretty much it's going to be connected to a auto theft or property theft involving autos that's citywide. It's not only exclusive here to the 106, but it's due to a shortage of airbags with specifically Honda. So if you own one of those vehicles, it could be a CRV, Accord, Civic, any of those vehicles, I would definitely try to add any kind of extra security features. One specifically, steering wheel lock columns. Very small small investment. You get it from your local auto parts store for maybe $20, maybe Amazon, even cheaper. And it actually helps in two ways: from the whoever the individual is trying to take your airbag from possibly stealing the vehicle, and one taking your airbag. It's a very expensive item to replace. And obviously, it's very unsafe, right? Even trying to drive with these vehicles. I think most of these vehicles, you can't even operate it if one of those airbags are stolen. So that's something that we're seeing. Like I said, we have a investigation going on right now. Like I said, citywide. So something to keep an eye out on. We have a jewelry swap pattern that we're currently working on. This comes around every year, especially around this time. It's a group or groups that they work in tandem, and what they do is you could be walking to your house, supermarket. Pretty much they use deception and distraction techniques, try to engage in conversation. They might offer some kind of prayer or jewelry, whatever the case might be. Sometimes they might see that you're driving a certain vehicle, or you might have certain kind of clothing, and they see that as an opportunity to try to steal some of your items. Once they see you might have something that they want, like I said, they'll distract you, and unbeknownst to you, before you know it, a lot of times people unsuspecting, they get home maybe half an hour later, and they realize, their chain is missing, their rings are missing, but they're that good. Like I said, they work in groups, and while you're talking to one person, another person's kind of, in your pocket, or, taking something off your hands. So just be careful with that. We spoke about auto theft, and obviously burglaries were down, and, it's just, great job to all the men and women in the 106 precinct. This is our 9th month straight of crime being down, and going into my 3rd year here since I've been signed to since I've been signed here in 2023, with decreases in crime. And we're facing a lot of challenges, but the men and women, they're doing a phenomenal job. They answer the call every night, keeping this community safe. So kudos to them. But tonight, I just want to end. It's a little bit of a bittersweet night. This will be my last meeting with the community board as the commanding officer, your commanding officer of the 106 precinct. So it's been a complete honor, right, serving with you. Right, we faced many challenges, right. We celebrated many accomplishments, right. And I think we've built a lot of great partnerships and relationships that has made us all a better and stronger community here in the 106 precinct. That was something that I strived when I first got here, and I think I accomplished with the help of Betty Bratton, her staff, and the community board 10 here. Like I said, and none of that progress could have been accomplished without, your support, your collaboration, and your commitment to this community, and it shows, right? First night back after, a nice summer, and everyone's here. We have a packed room. So I want to say, thank you for trusting in me, working with me, and, giving me this privilege, right? I think everyone has played an important role, obviously in my career, in my professional development. And even though I'm moving on into a different assignment, I'll be going to Queens North, so I'm right on the other side. My respect for this community, my gratitude to this community will never fade. So I just want to say my sincere gratitude, and everyone here will be in my my heart, right? Because we're family here. So thank you so much, everyone.
Wish you well in the new command. Thank you very much for your service here for the last couple of years. We have always commanding officers come and go. We're sorry when they leave, but we wish you very much success in your new command. Thank you very much. And thank you to Officer Reed and to Detective Jaffe for being here with us this evening. Okay, moving on. My report. Okay, I'm going to try to do this one fast. You all got your folder materials. You have a presentation in your first folder file. It's called Good Urban Design. It was from the June Borough Board meeting. Nothing you really need to know about now, but it is a very handy thing to have for reference on design issues. There was a briefing this summer for the borough leaders on the New York City truck route redesign. There are a couple of things in it for Community Board 10. However, they're mostly on the Nassau Expressway and in that area, so it's not impacting residential areas. There is some information in that folder material that was extracted from the July environmental assessment for the Spring Creek CSO retention facility solar project, which is basically on sanitation land. Okay. Where am I here? Your second folder, also that first folder, was material from Con Edison. It was from a briefing during the summer. Has a lot of useful information. Nothing you got to digest right now, but hang on to the information because there's good information in there for future reference. And in terms of Con Edison, we want to thank Con Edison for the massive amount of work that they did in keeping the electric on in most of our area, most of the summer. All of those generators were there for a reason all over the place, but they basically kept the juice running. You have in the second folder information from sanitation that everybody should have received at their home about safe disposal. The one for Queens is at Resorts World, and it is in October. We have a brochure that was in your folders on also Con Edison information. You have Frank Galuccio's public safety, Frank Dardani's public safety information, and the urban forest plan information is in there, so anybody who would like to get interested in that, it's there. On the third folder, you have Frank Galuccio's aqueduct report and Peter's consumer affairs report. Also on the table and in your folders was the Queens Public Library's Back to School. And then the last folder, which ended up not having Roger's name on it because we wanted to get it out to you fast, but Roger's material on Gateway. And that's all that was in the folders. We also received over the summer the harbor tributaries study that's been ongoing that Roger's been talking about for years. I'm not even going to go there with that one because there was nothing in that after all of this waiting, and we can deal with that another night because they're not providing anything in our area. I have a copy of the Greater Greenways plan. If anybody's interested in that, we'll get it to you. The environmental assessment for the hydrological restoration of the salt marshes, we have that. And the needs annual citywide statement of needs is underway. That's one of the things that Karen is working on now. So that is all our budget requests that go in. And also Karen does all that half of it. I work on all of the different narratives. Any of the committee chairs that have any issues that you want the citywide statement of needs to address. Take a look at last year's. It's online at City Planning, and we'll be working on that. Okay, and last but not least, Resorts World. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen up, please. As you all know, and it's been mentioned tonight, the applications were filed from companies seeking the casino full licenses. There were 8 in the city, downstate area. Long story short, you have information in Frank's report, but so that you all hear it, you heard it from Senator Adabo, the community advisory committees have been formed. Frank has that in his written report. I'm sure he's probably got something to say on that. Long story short, I was appointed to that committee, and I am not on that committee, and neither is any of the other people on that committee. Frank explains it, I'm sure, in what he put in his written report, but the 6 people on that committee, the appointing authority, for example, one was the governor. The governor put a person on. The mayor was able to appoint somebody. The borough president was able to appoint somebody. The borough president appointed himself. The state senator was able to appoint someone. And the state senator for that area is James Sanders. He appointed himself. The assemblywoman for the Aqueduct property is Assemblyman Pfeffer Amato. She appointed herself, and she has been elected by that committee as its chairperson. And then the 6th person on that committee was appointed by the Speaker of the City Council and the council person. And her appointing authority, the appointing authority was the council seat. And that was the council seat of Speaker Adams, and she appointed me. But I am not there as a representative of Community Board 10. I am there as an individual. Each of the other 6 people that are appointed are individuals on the committee. But that will proceed, and Frank will talk about that. But as part of being on that committee, I am precluded from having any contact with Resorts World, any contact to discuss the committee business and the proceedings that are ongoing. The life of that committee is until the end of September, and then I will be able to talk freely. But right now, I am going to not comment on Resorts World issues at all, even though there are some that I probably could have. But what we did, because we have an ongoing relationship for 15 years, there is a lot of board business that gets done on a regular basis that doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with the applications. I have informed the state that all issues on this board related to anything to do with Resorts World or Aqueduct will be going through the committee, which is the Aqueduct Resorts World Committee. And on that point, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to move out of the committee report since I don't want to lose the quorum, and some of the people in the audience may want to hear some of this stuff. Going to move Frank Galuccio's committee up. Jump out of order on the committee reports.
Thank you, Betty. Yes, in your folders, a lot of this summer doing research. Even though I've been around here, there's so much to be said and done. So what I did for tonight's report, I just kind of fine-tuned it a little bit. If you're new to the board, sorry, now it works. You're not allowed to talk. Okay. As I started to say, I wanted to give you guys and gals some background And the background is really important. The final report, as Betty said, from Resort World was accepted by the state. We have a hard copy in the office if you'd like to read it. But let me take you back to last February. The New York Gaming Facility Board issued a request for applications to be considered. 3 casinos in downstate New York. The process had to be filed by June 27, and it was. In total, there were 8 applications filed for locations downstate. The gaming facility is overseeing the siting and the evaluation process. But between now and the end of the year, the process about downstate casino license will continue. The process is easy. It requires that the CAC committee, which Betty happens to sit on, and we've just identified who the others are, the appointing authorities for each CAC were notified for their obligation to their appointments. That's easy. By law, each community CAC committee is a public body established only to respond to the RFA. Now, you might be saying, what is the CAC? What is it supposed to do? Well, its responsibility is simple. It's to gauge the local support and determine whether or not there is adequate support for the proposed project in advance of the next process, the next step. They are not, and I'm going to repeat this, they are not deciding anything else. It will be the State Gambling Facility Location Board that does that after the process ends September 30th. Now, there was a public hearing on August 20th, well attended. There will be another second public hearing. I'll testify on that on September 15th. Bury this in your memory bank. There's a lot of information out there. There's a website, of course. There's a video, of course. The executive summary is on the table tonight. There's an experience center over at Resorts World. As soon as you walk in, it's outstanding. Why are we involved? Well, CB10, not 9, not 8, not 6. I've been part of all of those. We are where Resorts World is located. We have been, not we, Resorts World has been in business here for 15 years. I remember I was there with a lot of people on the board today when they put the shovel in the ground. It was a very cold, crazy day. In 2010, it was unknown what Resorts World was going to happen, what was going to happen, really. But let me take you back a little bit. Today, it's the one and only casino facility operating in the Big Apple. They have an actual long-standing track record here in CB10 area. A big part of that record comes from our relationship they have built since the day one of their presence. They were unknown to us in 2010. Casinos did not exist anywhere in the city. And over the years, Resorts World has become part of our community. It's not just the business that operates here. They're our neighbor. They become a very good corporate, good citizen, I repeat myself. Today, they are not unknown. And they've applied to be considered to get a full casino license. The state process is underway, where the Resorts World CAC is holding public hearings to determine if there is community support to advance that application to the next process. I believe and I propose that we should make a statement and give a statement from CB10 to the September 15th public hearing that I'll be at. Reminding everybody about the last 15 years about Resorts World. So I'm proposing tonight a motion. Let me read it to you. It's very short and very simple. Motion to authorize a statement from CB10, home of Resorts World, to the September 15th CAC public hearing saying that Resorts World has demonstrated and earned by their actions all through the last 15 years that their application is worthy of further consideration by the state. I will need someone to make a motion and a second, please.
I second.
There's a second. Frank is second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. You may regret all the work I'm sending your way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. Back to the committee reports. Air pollution, Peter. Consumer Affairs, Peter. And we welcome Peter back. Peter had some medical issues, and we're glad you're back, Peter.
Thank you.
Budget, Nellie is not with us. JFK International, Nellie is not with us.
The report's
Education, Natalie.
What happened?
You failing in the job back there, Frank?
Successful school year. Pouches, Yonder Proud, something. All to the students for this year.
Thank you. Gateway, Jamaica Bay, Roger.
It is in your folder.
Okay. Land use, John.
Thank you, Betty. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Our end of the year is starting off with a new action that's been presented to us by a developer for the piece of property on 7808 Linden Boulevard. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that piece. It's right on the outer portion of Community Board 10, and it's on the border between Brooklyn and Queens. Their application has been in the pipeline, meaning filed and with city planning for about a year and say a half. I believe they filed this application back in November of 23. It made its way through city planning. The developers team worked on it, and it has three components to it. They're asking for a zoning map amendment to change the project area from an R4 C1-2 district to an R7D C24 and an R6A district. The piece of property is it's over 250 feet that fronts on Linden Boulevard, and it's about 230 feet deep. It's right next to the Lindenwood Diner, and the way they're looking to rezone that piece is sort of step it back from Linden Boulevard into two different zoning districts. It's currently an R4, which only gives them the right to develop it at 1 times the lot area. It's a pretty big lot, but they're looking naturally for more floor area and more development possibilities. They're also looking for a zoning text amendment, which will designate the project area as an MIH, which means it's a mandatory inclusion housing area, and that gives it the ability to add affordable units into it. They're also looking to cancel, there was a restrictive declaration recorded against the project area in connection with a prior rezoning action, I believe back in the late 70s and early 80s. And that's something that the owner did themselves in New York, adjourning pieces. So we're now tasked, because of our council member mentioned earlier, as a community board, we're the first stop on a URLIP action. The URLIP Uniform Land Use Review action is part of the charter that gives us as the community board the first stop in the procedures that's going to happen now with this particular zoning action, and we have 60 days. They were certified in July, and the clock is ticking, and we need to hold a hearing, which Betty mentioned will be the hearing for the October meeting will be then. Prior to that, I will be chairing a land use committee meeting, and also prior to that, there'll be a presentation to our local civic group in Lindenwood, the Howell Beach Lindenwood Civic Association. The reasons for this is that the developer has stepped up and been working with the councilwoman's office, and she has requested a lot of good ideas and changes to this particular project, because the action that now in place gives them a facilitation of developing the project area with an 11-story mixed-use building with parking on the first floor, and also total number of dwelling units of 273 and some commercial floor area. So they've been working first with the councilman's office. Betty and I attended a meeting with the developer's zoning attorney, and we've sort of hashed out, and Joanne was really leading the charge on this, to bring this project to our community and scale it down, number one. They've also agreed to come up with sort of splitting it into two buildings instead of one massive building, where there'll be senior housing introduced on one side, close to 79th Street, and the other side will be the MI. And also, she's worked out a nice idea, and hopefully it comes to fruition with the fire department to give us the give some area on the first floor to include a station there for the fire department, and we also have some other things that they're willing. And with the senior housing, as we are familiar with the senior housing development that's on Cross Bay Boulevard here, they will also need a project sponsor. They're reaching out to possibly Catholic Charities and some other organizations that will bid on it and help bring that to fruition. So our next, between now and the end of the month, we'll meeting. We'll have a full presentation of the revised project, and then there'll be the local civic meeting, and next month's meeting will bring them back to make a presentation to the full board. And we'll have to make a decision that night, and then I'll be responding back to city planning after us. Ending up in city council for the vote. So there's a good amount of time ahead of it before we even see this project come to fruition. And hopefully it'll work out for our community. And we definitely, as Joanne said before, we want to maintain our interaction with the developer and have a say-so in the outcome of this project. So committee, just be ready for a meeting coming up, and that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Libraries Edna is not with us. She's getting out of rehab tomorrow, I believe. Parks, Frank.
I just wanted to say that it was an extra tough year for our Parks Department workers in this 90-plus heat almost every single day. And it comes to an end next week, a week from Sunday, where those workers are just summer help, and they will be gone until next summer. And, they had done a fantastic job, especially with all the new dumping that's been going on in our parks late at night by contractors and others. So I want to just give them a little shout out for the heavy work that they've done all year. The bad news in parks is we've gotten a lot of complaints about people utilizing the parks with or without permits, bringing in barbecues and food that is hot and it has to be used with an open flame. So we've made our complaints to the permit office, and also a lot of complaints about bathroomless parks and fields. We have Pal's Oval, which does baseball, football, and soccer. So that field is constantly used, 88th Street and North Conduit. There's a piece of property that connects that and Indian Field. It's a DOT property, and for the last couple of years, we've been trying to get the DOT over that land. That would be a perfect place connecting two ball fields to build a bathroom, because it's definitely needed. There's literally hundreds of people on that field during a particular day. So without bathrooms there, and in the meantime, maybe the Parks Department could put in their permits about utilizing porta potties in the meantime. But we desperately need bathrooms in places. As far as public safety, I have a couple of things. Number one, I'd like to touch on the cannabis place in Old Howard. As you see, that was the first one that was brought into a predominantly residential area. It happens to have a little bit of a commercial strip in it, but now they branched out to the Pitkin Avenue one, which is just a commercial overlay. You know, we know it's a legal business, but now you're really encroaching right where we live. Businesses like that have to be on a commercial strip, not in the middle of our neighborhoods where our children pass every single day. So I want to make note of that. Also this week, we met with the new Q team, and it's not just the NCO officers renamed. There's additional personnel on that. A Q team has a lieutenant, 2 sergeants. There's 7 NCO officers from the last batch that are involved that know all the areas, A, B, C, and D. And there's traffic officers, not regular traffic officers. These are police officers. These are ones that can stop your car on the street. If you got boom boxes in there and you're blasting music, they could stop you. They could confiscate your vehicle. And we have field training officers also involved in that unit. And we had a great one-on-one with 3 of our board members were at that meeting, Betty Brayton and Tony Delano and myself, and there was a lot of good back and forth. They wanted help from us, we wanted help from them, and I thought it was a great meeting altogether. So that's my reports.
Thank you very much, Frank. And follow up on Frank's mentioned about the meeting the other night, and then I've been to 2 other briefings, one that dealt with the citywide program as it was kicking off and how it was going to play out in Queens. And then there was another meeting following that, which there were a number of people from the different community councils in Queens that were there. So, you know, hopefully it's a program that's going to work. are we here? Personnel, Tony. We're advertising. It's out there. Okay. Okay. Resorts Row, we already did. Sanitation, Jimmy. Okay. Summer youth, etc., etc. Brina? Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Brina.
The New York City Hiring Hall is on September 9th from 10 to 2. It's at the Brooklyn Children's Museum. And the other one I wanted to mention was DCAS exams. So there are a number of, really specific ones, but some general ones that are good that are open right now. Corrections, police officer, and school safety. That's it.
Thank you much. Kevin Suez.
No report.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. For time's sake, I'm going to try and make this surgery as non-invasive as possible. Phase 2 of the MTA bus redesign has hit
I don't think your mics are on, Gary.
Testing. Can you guys hear me? Yep. Phase 2 hit as of last Sunday for the bus redesign with the MTA. I'm not going to go over all the buses that were affected, but just from this community board alone, it's been 11 buses, so most likely that's affecting at least someone, most of the room in here, right? So just continue to make your observations. If you see anything that's not working out, let's bring it to this community board so that when the MTA comes back, we can certainly raise our concerns and our objections. There are 2 new bus lines. There is the Q51 that does leave out of Ozone Park and it takes us straight to Cambria Heights. And then there is a Q80. The Q80 now goes straight down Lefferts Boulevard. It handles local. If you try and go local on the Q10, you'll be disappointed. The Q10's only going express down Lefferts Boulevard. Then it goes back local on Rockaway Boulevard. Other than that, happy commuting, folks.
Thank you, Gary. Okay. All right. We have some other elected official reps with us this evening. We have Jose Reyna from Congressman Gregory Meek's office.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Jose Reyna. I'm from Congressman Gregory Meek's office. Right now, TSA has made 2 changes at JFK to help with passenger TSA lines go a little bit faster. Right now, the first change was to update their shoes off policies so that most domestic air travelers will no longer need to remove their shoes during screenings. Secondly, the TSA is piloting a touchless ID program through their TSA PreCheck with Delta Airlines. Under this program, passengers will be able to verify their identity using facial recognitions instead of presenting a boarding ticket or their U.S. passport. To participate in this program, you will need to have a TSA PreCheck traveler membership and have a active Delta airline profile and upload a valid U.S. passport to your airline profile. Secondly, I want to follow up on an update I provided to Community Board 10 a couple months ago regarding the Treasury Department phasing out from the issuance of paper checks starting on September 30th, 2025. So this includes paper checks from federal agencies that can range from Social Security checks, IRS tax refund checks, etc. If you are already receiving electronic payments from these federal agencies, you don't need to do anything. But if you are still receiving paper checks from these federal agencies, then you will need to switch to an electronic payment system such as direct deposit. To make that change, you can go to godirect.gov or you can call the Treasury Department at 1-800-967-6857. If you do not have access to a bank account, you can also still call this number to get assistance with enrolling in the Treasury's Direct Express prepaid program. Lastly, the Food and Drug Administration has narrowed their criteria on who may be eligible to receive a COVID vaccine by focusing on older adults and individuals that has a higher risk of experiencing a severe illness. The updated COVID vaccine is designed to target the predominant COVID variant in circulation at this moment. According to the current authorized FDA approval, individuals 65 and up will be eligible to receive a COVID vaccine, and those under 65, including children as young as 6 months old, eligibility is limited to individuals that have an underlying health condition that may increase their risk of experiencing severe COVID-19 symptoms. FDA is still requiring further studies into additional age groups under the age of 65 who do not have a high-risk health condition that may broaden the eligibility to receive a COVID vaccine in the future. If you would like to follow up on the information I touched on here today, you can call Congressman Meek's office at 718-725-6000. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. We have with us Carl Moore, representing State Senator.
Thank you very much. Quickly, just want to say if there are any veterans in the group here, Senator Dabo is sponsoring his annual Veterans Barbecue this Saturday at the Howard Beach Motor Club. If you know of any veterans that live in his district, please call us tomorrow and let us know, and we'll put you on the list. And just quickly, I have some flyers up front. This here is a flyer the senator sent out with all the events that we have coming up for the rest of the year, including a recycling, e-waste, and a big band swing concert. They're all up there. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our office or speak to me after the meeting. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. And we have the other Carl Brown, representing State Senator James Sanders.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So first and foremost, I want to give it up to Councilwoman Ariola for bringing the Dabo Bridge to our attention and working in a collaborative team effort to tackle the garbage on the bridge. So give it up for her. I have a few announcements from Senator James Sanders. Anybody interested in going back to school soon? So one of the bills that he passed was tuition-free college for adults, ages 25 to 55. You can go for associates and online courses, and also back to school. Any teachers in here? So Senator Sanders secured $14 billion for the NYC schools. This includes 5% increases for teachers, staff, and admin as well. And also, the Rockaways is having their 8th annual Cancer Domestic Violence Awareness Walk. It's on October 19th, 2025, and it starts at 8 a.m. and the walk begins at, registration starts at 8 a.m. The walk begins at 9:30 a.m. The closing program will be at 12:30. Follow after the walk will be a concert and free giveaways at Beach 17th Street. The walk is from Beach 17th Street to Beach 73rd Street. Also, one last thing, any state-related issues, DMV, Easy Pass, Medicaid, or something state-related, please don't be afraid to contact me and let me know what the issue is. I will do my best to help you in any situation state-related.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, we have with us Jason Greenberg, who is here representing Assemblyman Ferramato.
Good evening, welcome back, everyone. Just a couple of quick updates, as was touched on by the woman before. As we head back into school, you'll notice that your students' schools will be required to have some kind of policy in place to restrict any smart device, phone, or anything like that during the day. So proud to have our students in a distraction-free learning environment. In addition to that, the Assemblyman was proud to help advocate for free meals for all students during the school day. So that's free breakfast and lunch, whether it's private, public, or charter schools. So no student should go to school hungry. So very proud of that. And last, I'm sure everyone was aware that the state is issuing a refund check to every taxpayer in the state. That should be coming in the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's somewhere in the range of $150 to $400, depending on how you file your taxes, income, and things like that. If you have any questions, feel free to contact our office at 718-945-9550. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And my apologies, I skipped over to the office. Moving on, we have Alicia Alley. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Alicia from Assemblymember Khalil Anderson office. I will be attending the meetings for 10 meetings from now on, so welcome, everyone. I represent South Ozone Park, Springfield Gardens, Springfield Boulevard, Rosedale, Brookville, JFK Airport, and South Ozone Park. I represent the satellite office on 131 Rockaway Boulevard. So I have a few updates. September 29th, we have a paper shredding event. So if anyone wants to shred any papers you could drop it by the office. We will have my garbage truck there. So it will be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Also, NILAG will be at our office on October 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Anyone who has any legal questions, any problems on, you are welcome to come and stop by and they will assist you. Any questions, feel free to reach me at 718-322-4958. 718-322-4958. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also have with us Tyler Logan from Speaker Adams' office.
Hi, everyone. My name is Logan. I am from Council Speaker Adrian Adams' office. A couple of updates I want to bring to you guys is in regards to around June. Pretty much our office, along with the Department of Consumer Worker Protection, Small Business Services, and as well as the Queens Chamber's office, pretty much collaborated in regards to an event where we visited about 60 to 70 businesses, pretty much giving resources for grants or information on counseling and pretty much any other type of resources that they could provide. Recently, we funded over $1.5 million to DOT. This is in regards to repavement all over District 28, but primarily focused on South Ozone. So if you've noticed, maybe Linden or 111, 109, we kind of stripped out the roads, pretty much address any, maybe concerns like potholes, stuff that pretty much have been continuously sinking, as well as address any vehicles that have been abandoned and left for months. Also, we have an office that officially opened in South Ozone, which is located at 122-21 111th Avenue. It's officially open for the public, so if anyone likes to come and visit, feel free to do so. Lastly, as for events, tomorrow we have a co-naming happening on Liberty and 127. So if anyone would like to attend, I have flyers in the front. Feel free to take those, as well as we also have a Family Day event happening on September the 13th, and flyers are also in the front as well. I also left my contact card in the front, so if anyone wants to contact me, feel free to pick up one. Thank you.
We have with us Dan Brown from the Attorney's Office.
You haven't heard enough from our room? Thank you. I don't have a report. I just want to thank you for having us. There's literature on the table over there about the Housing and Worker Protection Bureau, some of the stuff Bill Jorgensen was talking about. Thank you for having us tonight. If you want to reach me, 718-286-6593. Welcome back.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you very much, assistants you are to the office getting the speaker for us. Thank you much, Lee. And Councilmember Ariel. Is there anyone? Anyone representing Councilmember Ariola? Okay, we are now. The word I'm not going to say. David Tanis. David is here for 3 months.
What up? Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome back. For those that I have not had the pleasure to meet yet, my name is David Tanis. I am here representing Resorts World this evening. So the senator said a lot of great things, and Greg, thank you so much. She said a lot of great things as well related to Resorts World. So I don't have much to report other than saying that we look forward to working with you all. If there's any issues, you can feel free to reach out to us. I know that there were some concerns that was brought up, but the council member, we was able to address that. Other than that, I'm just here. I'm available. Frank did mention in his report earlier about our next hearing, which is September 15th. We ask that the community comes out. Past 15 years, we've been supporting and making sure that we could be embedded in the work of the community and supporting the community every step of the way. This right now is the time for your voice to be heard. So September 15th at 4 o'clock at Queensborough Hall is the next public hearing, and we're asking for as many of our amazing friends and supporters and colleagues in the work to come out and lend your voice if you're so willing to lend your voice. Other than that, I'm available. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, I'll try to respond as soon as possible. And if you need to reach me, my telephone number is 929-244-9769. Once again, my telephone number is 929-244-9769. Good evening again, and looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you, David. Okay. Are there any elected officials reps or any city agency reps that I skipped?
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, my name is Jaslyn Beltre, and I'm here on behalf of Flor de Fred. I know there's been a lot of Flor de Fred licensed cannabis dispensary over there on 9605 Liberty Avenue. I know there's been a lot of conversation around cannabis dispensaries. However, in the last meeting before we adjourned for the summer, there was a few members of our team who introduce themselves and a little bit about what we do. And without belaboring, I know I only have 1 or 2 minutes, but ultimately I just wanted to let you guys know who we are and what we represent and what we stand for, and ultimately our goal in the community. So Flor de Fred, who is Fred? Flor de Fred, who are we? We're a family-run and a family-funded business, so we do not have any external investors outside of our family. We are also family-run, so my uncle and my aunt are the owners, and I am the vice president of marketing and operations. Now, who is Fred? Fred is my uncle. Fred is my uncle who we named the dispensary after. He passed in the process of legalization due to opioids. Why does that matter? It matters because it's a part of our story, it's a part of who we are, and as a result, at our location, we offer free fentanyl test strips, free xylazine test strips, free Narcan test strips. We also hold Narcan trainings. We've held 2 Narcan trainings so far, and we plan to hold another one at our 1-year mark in October. We also have a 24/7 virtual counselor for anyone, a free virtual counselor for anyone who is struggling with any type of addiction, including alcoholism. Why are we doing this? We are proponents for harm reduction. Although we are a retail dispensary, we ultimately believe in people doing things that gives them the opportunity to make a second chance and have a second decision, or a second opportunity to make a different decision. Hence why cannabis is a large part of harm reduction in our community. So why am I here? Why is this important? It's because as we continue to give out hundreds of fentanyl test strips, as we continue to partner with our vendors to donate thousands of dollars to Get Naloxone Now, which is one of our partners that we actively donate to, which are folks that give out Narcan test strips in the community. We also are partnering with brands to figure out how we can, and would like to partner with you all here to figure out how we can better service the community. Although we are proponents for harm reduction and we are actively doing this and have actively been doing this over the past year, we understand that there's a lot more work to be done within the community, and we want to understand how and where we can put our resources so that we are not only folks who are here, we're not only another cannabis dispensary, but we're active and responsible members trying to contribute and make the community a better place. Wrapping it up, my email, in case anyone wants to reach us and is interested or has any constituents that might be interested, you can email us at info@flordefred. Again, that is info@flordefred.com. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
And the gentleman that had his hand up.
Hi, my name is David Kupferberg, and I am a member of Passengers United. As we've heard, the diversion of the Q7 via Rockaway Boulevard, via Franklin K. Lane High School, and the new Q51 via Linden Boulevard are now in operation. Plus, the Q7 now operates all times at every 30 minutes or better. The caveat is that Q7 service to the JFK Airport's cargo area was discontinued. A significant amount of bus stops were eliminated in Hamilton Beach effective August 31st. The MTA's rationale was twofold. The stops did not comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act and were safety hazards. In fact, some of the stops on 104th Street were in the middle of the street, but these stops decreased passenger travel time. Because of the laws that were in place, I doubt that these stops could be restored. And a significant amount of bus stops were also eliminated along Lefferts Boulevard north of Rockaway Boulevard, where the Q10, now a rush route, and the Q80 local operate, though overnight service is now every 15 minutes or better. If changes should be done, the MTA should do them immediately, not wait 6 months for the post-implementation analysis to be complete. The proposed changes in MTA fares and tolls are being done on the backs of riders. That ain't right. The MTA wishes to eliminate the monthly option for buses in the subway. That ain't right. And the MTA claims that the changes are being done in order to pay for the investments connected to the bus network redesigns. That is false, because if this was true, bus service in Eastern Lindenwood would not have been eliminated. Therefore, the base fare must remain at $290, 7-day rolling fare cap at $34, 30-day unlimited at $132, and the express bus fare at $7. The new 7-day rolling express bus fare cap should be $63. Did you know that the revenues connected to the congestion relief zone go solely to the MTA's capital budget and could only be changed by an act of legislature? I think that the revenue should have been 25% to the operating budget, 75% to the capital budget. This way, fares would have been stable for a longer period of time. So if the MTA claims that the only other option is to do what's being done in Philadelphia, i.e. keep fares the same in future years than have major fare hikes and service cuts, don't you believe it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Ma'am?
Hi, good evening. My name is Amisha Gandhi. I'm okay, just talking to her. Right. My name is Amisha Gandhi. I own a senior daycare center in South Ozone Park. I come from Canarsie, Brooklyn. We have a center over there, and we started a senior center here in South Ozone Park. I am dealing with Medicaid and the state office and a lot of the federal cuts that are affecting the Medicaid and our senior community. I deal with this on a daily basis. My history and background, I come from Boston, and it's very different for the seniors in that state compared to here. And I would like to connect with a lot of the officials here that can help, because there's been a lot of cuts in the senior community, and I'm trying to help them to get our daycare off the ground. We started with 15 seniors. We've reached almost our 80 mark. But I really want more help from the community to reach out to the seniors, because also they don't know that they are entitled to a lot of the services that are offered by the state. Everything has not been cut, but we are trying to make everybody aware. So this is the first time for me to come to a community board meeting. And so thank you to some of the members that told me about here. And we've been in the community a long time. I used to own a math and reading center for children, a Kumon center. Now I moved into the geriatric population. My husband is a local dentist in Richmond Hill for the last 30 years. So we are just trying to give to the community as much as possible. But it is very difficult here in New York, because at the state level, they don't give as much to the seniors. I see them suffering a lot, and they don't get all the resources that they should be entitled to at their age. And so I'm appealing to a lot of the community people, the leaders that can help us to take, because I have to turn so many seniors away, and I don't know how to help that. So,
you have to wrap it up.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sorry. All right, anyone else in the public who wishes to speak? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience this evening. We are adjourned.